Hey, welcome to Frank Factualities, the podcast. I am your host, Yolanda. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Thank you. Hope all is well. All is well with me. Everything is good. I have no complaints. I hope the same goes for you all. We're going to go ahead and get straight into street talk. And actually, this street talk is about me. I want to share a story with you all. It's something that just happened recently, and we're going to talk about it a little. And it's ironic because I actually just talked a little about myself on the last episode, and this kind of ties into it. So about 2 weeks or so ago, my daughter and I decided to do the mother-daughter challenge on Instagram. And pretty much what it is it says, show yourself, then show your daughter. So people are posting pictures of themselves and then their daughters, and they're saying, some of them are putting their age, their zodiac sign, and then just saying that, okay, I'm the mother and here's the daughter. So we get told all the time that we are more like sisters, obviously because of our age difference, which there really isn't much. Then we get that a lot. So we thought it would be cute to put it. Now, my personal page on Instagram is private. So I shared it, but of course, only my friends and the people that are following me can see it. And then my daughter shared it, but sometimes depending on how you tag it, you can only share it as a story. So I sent her the video so that she could share it on her page because she wanted to post it. Now, her page is public, but same thing happened. She got a couple of likes. I think she has maybe like 1,000 something followers, not many on Instagram. I have on my personal page only like 500. And she may have gotten maybe like 30 something likes and a few comments of people who knew us, guys, girls she's gone to school with, saying, all right, mom, making little slick comments. But that was it. I'd say about 2 days ago, things started to like pick up, I guess, from maybe the explore page or the hashtags. I don't know. All I know is right now it has maybe like almost 1,000 likes, about 70 something comments, and maybe like 50 something shares. So we don't, you can't really, well, she has a personal account, but even when you have like a creator or a professional account on Instagram, it will show you how many public shares you have. But usually you can't see who shared it unless it's somebody like following you and then they shared it to their story. So we don't know who shared these things. We don't know what they're saying. We have no idea. But based on the comments, I think I know what they're saying, or at least some of them. So of course you got guys saying, oh, they're both fine, but what we got the most, which I figured somebody would do the math, story of my life. Anytime someone would ask me, did I have any kids? Usually the next question is, how old are your kids? Whether that be in a relationship or just general talk with like girls or coworkers, everybody, you're just having a conversation. Oh, you have 2 kids? How, girl or boy? What are their ages? I always got the side eye when I said how old my daughter was, because obviously compared to my age, you could do the math quickly to see how old I was. And that's what people were doing. So, oh my God, that's impossible. She couldn't have had a baby at 11, 12. Why would you brag about what age you were when you had your child? That's ridiculous. That's ugly. It was just all type of sort of negative comments. Now, I don't want to say used to it, but kind of sort of. My daughter, on the other hand, was like, Mom, I'm about to cuss these people out. So I was like, no, if you go to these people's pages, because I'm used to this on my Frank page sometimes, a lot of times you get some negative comments based on the quotes or poems you post that people don't agree. But if you go to those people pages, it's sometimes like ghost accounts. And when I mean that, I mean like they don't have any posts. It's private, but no posts, and barely any followers, but they're following a lot of people. So these are like people that hide in the shadow. So I told her not even worry about it. And I was like, if it bothers you that bad, just delete the comment because you still have control of your page. So that's what she did. But I just wanted to, like, I've been not really in my feelings, but it amazes me how much judgment it is out there in the world. And, there were some people that were curious. She was just like, oh my, one lady was like, oh my God, what would an 11 or 12-year-old know about sex? I wonder how it happened. Now, what I did was I wrote a comment and I told my daughter to pin it because I felt like, well, maybe if I clean some things up, then we wouldn't get as much of the negative comments. And it did help some. And what I said was that, okay, yes, I was 12, but let me put some things into perspective. And I went on to say, like, okay, I graduated on time from high school. I went on to college. I have a master's plus 30 degree. I only have 2 children. I'm married to, the father of my second child, those type of things. And that, we're good. We as in a family, everybody's all good. Things worked out. So I got a lot of like, you don't have to explain nothing to people. Like, you don't have to justify anything. You're beautiful, live your life. Some people were clapping, sending, good job, whatever. But that got a lot of likes, and people were pretty much, kind of patting me on the back saying, you good. And again, people were saying, why are you guys like upholding this? Like, this is something that we don't want to promote. Let me just go ahead and say, our intention was not to promote that. But be clear, I am never ashamed of anything I do or did. So I would never be embarrassed of my child. That's something that happened a very long time ago. And for you to think that I'm going to hide my truth, for what? Like, things are going to happen. It's impossible to shield the world from the bad things that has happened. That's like, you guys sound like a lot of, I hate to say this, Republicans or conservatives, not even Republicans, where you want to shield certain things out of history. In the same token, these same people would be mad if we decided not to teach that slavery existed. But at the end of the day, you want to shut people up for telling their truth and making it so that it's okay. You don't know whether or not me telling my story, which it actually is therapeutic for me. There's something therapeutic about being honest about my experiences and accepting what they were and how they were and being able to move past it, which I have been for a very long time. You don't get to tell people that that's nobody's business for them to know what you've gone through. It's my business to tell. You can choose to listen, respond, follow, whatever. That's your prerogative, but it's not your business what somebody else chooses to do. And like I always say, at the end of the day, there is nothing that I have done or will do that nobody else has done. Matter of fact, at the time when I got pregnant, my cousin, I was turning 12. I think when I found out I was still 11, but that's another story. Well, it isn't a story, it's just what it was. But my cousin at the time was 13 and she was pregnant. And then I had a girl that lived in my same neighborhood. She was 12 and she was pregnant. So I don't live in Atlanta or some big city in California. At the end of the day, I knew 3 people at the time that I was pregnant that also was pregnant. You get what I'm saying? So it's not like it's something that's like so rare. I get it. It's not normal. And no way, again, am I glorifying, but it happens. And if I want to share my experiences of my story, I can. It is not for you to judge because nothing is absolute. And when you're dealing with situations, everything is circumstantial. So because 9 times out of 10, no, I don't have the time on my platform to sit there and tell you the whole backdrop as to what happens. You not on a post. Now, you might get that in the podcast, but you're going to have to listen to a couple of episodes to get all the little pieces that put together. But on a simple post about show your mom, show your daughter, you're not going to get the whole story as to how I got pregnant and what the stipulation was. But if any of you are listening who saw that post, let me just go ahead and tell you what it was, because most of the questions was, how did that happen? Well, how do you think it happened? It's sex. It happens, okay? Regardless of your age, it happens. So honestly, at that age, it's lack of supervision. I'm a kid. And to sit there and pass judgment on something that happened, we were kids. We were outside, having a good time, playing like most kids play. Parents were mixing up, it's like the weekend. So they're, doing their thing, having their little get together, company over, whatever. So we were left to our own devices. And it was a guy who was the cousin of one of my friends at their house, because her mom had a card party. I think my mom had a date over. So we were all just outside, bunch of us. And he was just pressuring me to have sex with him. Hey, you want to do something? Little kid talk. He was older than me, but you want to do something? Let's go in the room. Let's do this. And I said no for as long as I could say no. No, I don't want to do that. Then it was, oh, you scared, you acting like a little girl, blah, 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 blah. Now, granted, I was a little girl. He never asked me my age. I think at the time, he probably thought I was like 15, 16, because that was around his age. To be fair, I was best friends with his cousin who was his same age. Now, the reason he probably thought I was the same age is because her sister was my age, but I wasn't friends with her sister. She and I were closer than me and her sister, even though me and her sister was the same age. So I get how he could just automatically make the assumption. regardless, we were all still kids. So I just gave in. I just got tired. And as I told y'all on the last episode where I thought I had sex, you know, you're just humping around or doing something. So in my mind, oh, okay, it's going to be the same thing. It's no big deal, because I really didn't know what intercourse was. And, oh, that wasn't it. Okay, that wasn't what I thought it was. So that's how it happened. So it happened. They were playing, his mom and aunties and everybody were playing cards, and we just went in the bedroom of one of the kids, my best friend at the time, her bedroom with her sister. And it happened. I went on home because, you know, it was like Halloween in the sheets, if you get what I'm saying. I can't say what I want to say, but it was scary. It was something that happened, and he did use protection. The condom burst, and that was obvious because you could see it at the moment after we got up and did it. You could see that is exactly what had happened at the time. And I didn't have any control over whether or not I wanted to keep the child. I found out because I was going to a random doctor's appointment. It just so happened to be around the time. At the time I got pregnant, I know the exact date because it was my mom's birthday and she had company over. It was July 9th. Before my birthday came, which is July 26th, I had already known that I was pregnant. My body had done crazy things. My cycle was supposed to come on the end of the month because I did have that. I didn't see it. I was tired all the time. I was sleepy, and I was very athletic. I was a tomboy. I climbed trees. I raced the boys in the neighborhood. I was doing none of that. So my old school mom and my grandma already started saying stuff like, "Why are you so tired? You pregnant?" You know. Anyway, by the time August ran around, the beginning of August, I had a doctor's appointment before we started school. We normally start school around here like the middle of August. And so I just had a random checkup. So she took me and she asked them to give me a pregnancy test because she had her assumptions. Now, my mom always called me like fast because, again, I was a tomboy. I wasn't really fast, to be honest. So guys, be a little mindful of that if you probably calling your kids that. I was just a tomboy. I hung around boys. I like to do things that boys did and not necessarily what the girls did. But anyway, I got labeled that. So she already had her suspicions that I was having sex, even though I wasn't. So he did the pregnancy test, came back in the room, told us, yes, indeed, I was pregnant. Over that course of time, I had to go to the doctor. And at that moment, I didn't even go into the doctor's room. I went into the doctor's office. I had never in my life gone into, to this day, still haven't been inside the doctor's office. Not like where you lay down. I'm talking about his office with his desk and a computer. They took us in the office. And he pretty much had a straight-to-straight conversation with my mom and was like, listen, she's a young girl. I was very tiny. I was small framed. And he was like, this is risky. You know, are you sure you want her to go through with having this child? So my mom asked me, and I was a little girl. All I thought was dolls, you know, okay, this little kid, no big deal. So I said yes. She asked me, I said yes. That's what we went with. My dad was like, hell no. But my dad lives in New Jersey. He doesn't live in the same state. And so it really wasn't much he could control from miles and miles away. So because I said, yeah, my mom made a decision. It was totally hers. She could have said no and nobody would have questioned it. I mean, I got to make no decision about my pregnancy. I was too young when they asked her everything. When is the apartment? My child support checks for my child was in my mother's name during that time because I was too young to collect any money. So I wasn't even getting child support for my child in my name. It wasn't until I was of age that everything got switched around, but that's how young I was. I wasn't old enough to work, so it wasn't like I could support my child. So I didn't make any of those decisions. I just had to live with whatever decisions were made. So that is the backstory as to how it all happened. At the end of the day, it's not about where you started. It's about how you finish. And I feel like I took a situation because I am a product of my circumstances, a product of my environment, which is why I wanted to get into school counseling, because I feel like we label kids a lot. Oh, this is where they live. This is where they come from. This is what has happened to them. And then you don't assume that people can progress and that people can be better and people can do better. We are not the same people that we were 5 years ago, let alone 20, 30 years ago. So if you looking at somebody judging something that they did when they were teenagers, then something's wrong with you if you think that this is still the same person. Now, I'm not saying that there are some people that don't change. There are. But you can't make a general assumption that people are how they were, because that's just not the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kids change from the time they come ninth grade to their senior year. You see the maturity in them. So just understand that, number one, all flowers don't bloom at the same time. So even though I may have been immature or fast or had a child, started sex early, that mean that that's the same type of person that I am now. And I'm sure people can see that, especially the people that grew up with me that know me now. They can see the growth. If you know me then, I'm sorry, y'all. I feel like something's sticky on my lips. So excuse me, YouTube, because I know my audio audience can't see me. And I'll probably edit this out of audio. However, I'm not that great on the video editing. So y'all just going to have to deal with this, me wiping my lips. But hey, it is what it is, okay? I'm still here. So, yeah, you're going to have to understand that people are going to be different. And allow them to grow, and don't just look at one area and then automatically make your assumptions about what something is. But again, by no means will I ever hide who I am. By no means will I keep quiet about the things that I've been through. I will respect someone if it has something to do with them and they feel like they don't want to share that part of the situation. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. You know, when I first started this podcast, my husband was just like, you know, he wasn't comfortable sharing things that go on with our marriage. And so I got to respect that. If he didn't want me to share the things that we were going through, experiencing, it's still my life and it's still some things, but I'm just going to respect it. So you might not hear me say anything about it, but that's intentional. No shade to him or nothing. But if I can't share the bad with the good, then I just won't share it all. But I'm not going to sit up here and put on a front for you all. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be as transparent as I can, because the purpose of this is that hopefully what I've gone through will somehow help someone in the future, or either help them now. What it is, okay, let me tell you what I've been through, give you hope that, number one, you can overcome anything, but also guide you through how to get through those things, because some people just don't know. I remember my friend told me, you know, if it wasn't for some of her married friends just expressing to her what real relationships and marriage was about, she wouldn't know. You don't know how something or your story will help someone, but if all you want to do is just keep things that you've experienced inside out of shame, then do that. I mean, it's your business to do it, but don't knock somebody else who doesn't do it, who don't do it. I'm sorry. I don't have any shame. I know that sounds bad. And you're like, yes, you do, Igor. I do if I slip and fall and bust my butt in front of thousands of people. That's the type of shame I have. But about something I did or an experience, no, because why? We all have done something that we're not proud of. Let's be clear. Now, my something may not be your something, but we all done did something that we're just not proud of. Because I choose to share mine, you're not going to judge me and you're not going to make me feel bad about it either, because I'm not. Never. And if we start sweeping around our own front door and stop worrying about what other people got going on, then maybe we can clean up our lives too. But we so busy. Why she do that? If I was her, I wouldn't do it. But you're not me. And I'm not you. So you let me do what I do. You let everybody else do what they do. Live their life how they want to so that they can do what's best for them and their families. They ain't got nothing to do. Yo, I'm sorry. I'm really wilding on this show tonight. I'm scratching my head. I literally, I don't know. It just took me off. And moving along to another story or situation that had me about the same type of thing. One of my, not one of my, I'll say who he is because he has his own platform. So y'all go check him out. His name is Rob, and he has From My Experience podcast. Now, you guys have heard me mention Rob before. He's my mentor. He's who helped me get this platform jumping. He posed the question on one of his stories, like it was a video of a girl criticizing Michelle Obama for talking about Mr. Obama, President Obama. And remember, she was talking to, I think, Kelly Rowland and all of those, and she was saying like, hey, you know, you got to learn to stick through marriage. You know, my marriage wasn't the best, 10 years. Sometimes I've given 40, some 60, vice versa. I've held it down when he couldn't, but you got to learn to stick through it. So she felt like Michelle Obama was disrespectful to the president, and that she should have kept her mouth closed because she's the first lady, and you don't see other wives or first ladies talking about their husbands and the experiences that they've had, and that she owes him an apology for bringing up their personal marriage. I was so annoyed. It had nothing to do with me, but I was annoyed because how dare you tell somebody what story to tell? It is their life and their experiences, and they can share whatever they want regardless of the position of their husband. You understand what I'm saying? So what? He's human. He's not God, and how dare you say something about me before I condemn you? He's a president. It was a job. He got elected to do a job. He's human. And he was a father and her husband before he was ever our president. And if she wants to talk about her experience with her husband and encourage other people to stick through it because it was something positive, yet that person took it as a negative thing. What I've learned is that you're never going to please anybody, so do whatever the hell you want to do. You never. People are going to like it. People won't like it. The question is, do you like it? Is it what you want to do? If it's what you want to do, then do it. I don't know why I feel so passionate about this. I'm around here spitting out the mouth and stuff. I just can't for the life of me. I have never in my life, obviously social media has gotten to this point that now you could just see all of the opinions of people. Like before, you knew people talking, people had their opinions, but you just never got to see it on this large scale. And you can share it. It is your prerogative. But the way people think floors me. Like I said, as if they've never made a mistake. As if they don't have a situation that can be judged and people can see it the wrong way unless they explain prior to why it happened the way it did. Again, your opinion is subjective. It's not facts. You don't get to talk to people like what you're saying is the truth. It's the Bible and it is what it is. No, it's just your opinion. It's subjective. And again, everything is circumstantial. So before you start to pass a negative judgment. Now, I talk on the show all the time. I give my opinion on things. I don't think, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, that I ever just be like blatantly disrespectful or negative towards a situation. I give my opinion. And typically I'll add in there, well, you know what? I don't know. Could be, maybe, or this is just my 2 cents. I'm never going to condemn somebody or victim shame them. And I just felt like that's what was going on with me on that post. And that's what that lady was trying to do with Michelle. You all had it right. I mean, it's clickbait. Granted, it was interesting. It got me to talking. It did what it was supposed to do. It gave what it was supposed to give. Okay? But it was wrong. She can talk about whatever she wanted to talk about. Just like you, that woman talked about what she wanted to talk about. However, to say she owes somebody an apology, how dare you? You don't get to tell somebody when, how, and what about to apologize. That ain't your business. That is not, you don't control people. You know, when you have kids, then you control them and just a little bit too, because they're going to do what they want to do too. It's how you handle what they decide to do, but another story. So, frankly, the fact of the matter is, mind your business. Stop judging before you know all the facts. And even when you get all the facts, it ain't your business. Worry about what you did and how you're going to move past it. And if you choose to be secretive, that's fine. But in the words of Bobby Brown, it's my prerogative, whatever I choose to share. It ain't got nothing to do with you. So don't make it about you, right? Y'all don't do that to people. Just don't judge. That's all I got to say. This ain't even got to be a long episode. I just wanted to vent. And I'm so glad y'all listen. Like, you know, y'all can talk back. But that's okay. You can. Hit me up on my Instagram, my DMs, Twitter. Where else am I on? TikTok. I do this all the time and I forget. Facebook. Yeah, those platforms. Hit me up. Let me know if you have any opinions about anything that I've talked about. You want me to talk about something? Hit me up. I'll talk about a topic if you have one. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. I am available for you guys to email if that's what you choose to do too. So do that. That's my time, y'all. I don't have nothing else. I'm gonna take my behind the bed because I feel like I'm busting a blood vessel. And this just a little rant I just had. So till next week, guys. I'll holla at you all. Bye.